It is Mr. Vic Wertz here, staring out into the outfield with a pissed off look on his face because Willie Mays just ruined his handiwork. Vic Wertz says hello. This is session number 162 of Card Room Live. And no, it's not a show. It is, however, a hangout for fellow vintage collectors, whether we have guests or not, and we do tonight. Most of the time, we waste time looking at and talking about old cardboard. Through it all, we do attempt to make it time well wasted, and we've been doing that for about 4.5, nearly 5 years now. If you're here with us live, welcome. Welcome to my fellow YouTubers, to the commenters, to the folks from all over social media land, to the folks that might just be listening in and may not leave a comment. That's okay. If you're new, don't be afraid to say hello, though. You are among cardboard friends. This is the live stream where everybody knows your name. If you're new, it may take us a few tries, but we'll learn it soon enough. If you're listening to this later, maybe you are doing one or more of the following things: going to or coming home from work, sorting cards, looking at eBay, or perhaps an auction site, rolling out those meatballs, or manicotti. Apparently, Stoop was making manicotti tonight. Walking the dog, sitting on the john, putting the kids to bed. Maybe you're battling raccoons in the backyard. Maybe you're wondering if Eddie Wakis will come up. It's always a possibility. Wondering what other kind of Mike Foolery we'll get into tonight. Whatever you might be doing, I do hope you get something out of the next hour of Mike Foolery. If you want to get in touch or have ideas for future sessions, you can always email me at bowman53channel@gmail.com. You can find me on Instagram, bowman53_Alex. On X, 1953 Bowman Color, and on Blue Sky, Bowman53. And of course, all that information is located in the description below. This session of Card Room Live is brought to you by our friends at Wheaties, the Breakfast of Champions. Lou Gehrig, the Iron Man of baseball, says that he believes anyone who wants to go places in any sport has to be in good physical shape. I would agree with Lou on that. And you have to eat smart. And there's nothing better than a big bowl full of Wheaties with plenty of milk or cream and sugar. Try Wheaties. You'll be glad you did, because Wheaties sure taste great. Maybe you'll get a few baseball cards or panels out of it. And Lou would know, of course, because he's played in 2,130 consecutive games. After all, Wheaties, the breakfast of iron horses. And don't forget to check out rangerstudios.com. That would be a good idea. Let me put something up on the screen here as a little reminder for our folks in the chat who may have missed this last time. Ranger Studios has all sorts of fantastic hobby-related items, art cards that you're not going to find anywhere else, but they also have some pretty nifty, spiffy t-shirts that are hobby related, including this t-shirt. What a wonderful item to buy for yourself or a fellow collector. So make sure you head over to rangerstudios.com to get yourself a Not a Show t-shirt, like the one I'm wearing right here. Good evening to everybody. Happy Sunday to everyone. Thank goodness it's Sunday night in Hobbyland. Let's see who is in the bar this evening. Mr. Everyday Card Collector Jason. Welcome to the Not a Show, Jason. So glad you're here. Hey, maybe we can get you to hop on a live stream sometime in the future. That would be cool. The Battery Carlisle is here. As you can see, the black and white set was never in the running. I'm not that dedicated. Jay Hawker Vintage Cards is here. Sven Patrick is here. Sven, I still owe you an email and a prize-winning package. I have not forgotten. Blue Collar Cards is here. Mark's Dodgers Cards is here. Pastor Craig's Cards is here. Ranger Studios, as I mentioned before with the wrench, is here. Pre-War Dreams is also here. Jacob Dahl is here. Peter B is here, getting ready to face a blizzard. Hope everybody is staying warm and safe up north. Peacemaker Cards is here. Mr. Confluence Sports Cards is here. Orlando, A Collector's Dream is here. Mr. Think Blue 77, the OG, is here. Rip Fan 8, Stephen with a PH, is here. Good to see you, sir. Spartan Card Collector is here. Cardapalooza 162. That's right. Melissa Sports Guru is here. Phil Negro Fan is here. Nick the Iowa collector. Another wrench holder, Mike, the sports history collector, is here, and he brought the Mike Foolery. Howdy, Max. You can say that with more assertion. You don't have to question it. Yes, that's right. He is still mad at Willie Mays, like I said. Mr. Wilhelm is here. Dan's Vintage Baseball PC is here. It is an emergency whenever Cardroom Live happens, but you're also talking about that storm, I'm sure. Mike Good is here. That's right. Stay in and stay safe. Mookie Chilson is here with the bit of trivia. Things got worse for Vic Wertz in 1955. He got polio in the summer, and he missed half the season, only to recover in 1956, hit 32 dingers, and win Comeback Player of the Year. So it all got rosy for Vic eventually. Killabrew 3 is here. CRL is on the air. Larry is here. A's Fan Jim is here. And Mr. 3D80s Kid is here with the finest folks. The dog ate my card. That's right. We should say rest in peace to that Pittsburgh Pirate who made a lot of people's 1960 World Series a wonderful time. Let's see. Collector Not Hoarder is here. And I must remind everyone that the USA is good at hockey. Yeah, what an incredible game. And I love that they were wearing the throwback jerseys. We were waiting for Don. Now we can start. So we've got 4 guests. No, we don't. We have 3 guests. I'm not a guest. We've got 3 guests, and these guys have some cards, and they've got some stories to tell. I'm going to bring these guys in. One of them has been on this thing before, but he's back again with some cards and with some stories. Here he is, Mitchell, the White Sox fan card collector. Mitchell, how are you?
Yeah, good evening. Do you not want me here? Is that what you're trying to say?
No. It's just like, it's like I don't really need to introduce you because everybody knows who you are, right? And I just want to give Mitchell a shout out for completing his Diamond Star set. I'm going to put the link to his recent live stream that I did with Baseball Collector and Dan, Vintage Baseball PC. Here it is. If anybody missed it, copy and paste that link, or just go to Mitchell's YouTube stream. How did it go, by the way? I haven't had a chance to catch up with it, but sorry I missed it.
Yeah, we had a good time doing it. It was a lot of fun. A lot of participation during the chat, so thank you, everybody. I think it was like everybody that's here and a few other people also joined that as well. So, and thanks for the shout out. Appreciate it.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm gonna check it out. Yeah, and I think anybody that was there seems like they had a good time. We've got 2 new YouTubers joining us tonight. Not new YouTubers, but new to Cardroom Live. Mr. John Wade Boggs fan is here. John, how are you?
Good. Hi, Alex. Hi, Mitchell.
Glad to have you. And we've also got Cardboard Coach Neil. Neil, how are you tonight?
I'm doing great. How about you, Alex? Thanks for having me.
Doing good. Glad to have you all here. This is a really fun group of guys. We like to mix it up. These guys all have different collections, different ways of collecting, different interests, but we all love cardboard, new and old, right? So anybody that's new to Cardroom Live, we're going to do a round of cards with stories. I asked these guys to pull 3, 4, 5, maybe more cards. And what we're going to do is we're going to go around the horn, and each of these guys are going to get a chance to share a card and the story behind that card. Now, the story might be about the player or the history behind that card from a baseball perspective. Maybe it's hobby related in terms of how these guys got the card, or maybe there's some other kind of personal twist to it. And I got some advance notice that some of these guys do have some personal twists coming, which I think will be really entertaining. To get us started, though, I actually have one card that I want to share with you guys. And this is just because this is something that happened literally in the past 24 hours. So I'm going to share a story with you guys real quick. As some of you guys know, well, actually all of you know this if you've been on Cardroom Live before, my channel started with making 53-second videos of the 1953 Bowman Color set. And I did that. Those are the very first videos I ever made on my channel. And what's kind of interesting about those is that I still get comments on those videos. And most of the comments that I get from those videos are actually related to the player themselves. So just a couple days ago, I got a comment, and this would actually make Orlando, a collector's dream, really happy. I got a comment about this particular player, card number 89, Sandalio or Sandy Consuegra, of the Washington Senators. And I'll share the comment in a moment. But what's interesting about Sandalio Consuegra, and I've got the card right here, so maybe I should just show that, is that not only was he a Washington Senators player, and this is a great portrait shot, but the back of the card, the very first thing that it says on the back of the card is Sandy is one of the many Cubans who can usually be found around Griffith Stadium. And that's the first sentence of this card. And I remember reading that when I first got this card. I was like, that's really interesting that they're mentioning that he's one of many Cubans at the Griffith Stadium for the Washington Senators. And so this actually prompted a video that I did way back, and I'll just share my screen again real quick. I did a video way back. This was 6 years ago. Some people think cup of coffee videos are new. No, I've been making those for a long time. And this cup of coffee is called Papa Joe and the Cuban Senators. For anybody that's curious, I'll put this in the chat if anybody wants to watch it later. And the whole video was prompted by this Sandy Consuegra card. And it kind of looks into the history behind how the Senators made a concerted effort to try to bring more Cuban baseball players into their team and obviously into the majors. And, had a lot of fun learning about that and researching it and putting that video together 6 years ago. Well, just the other day, I got a comment about this Sandy Consuegra card. I'll just read this to you guys. And I have no way of I haven't reached out to this person, so I have no way of verifying it, but it seems like it's probably who's going to go out of their way to leave a Sandy Consuegra comment on YouTube, right? The person said, I knew him personally. He was my older sister's godfather. He was married to my mom's cousin, and they helped her out tremendously when she came from Cuba, as she lived with them until she got back on her feet. He was a really good person, and I have nothing but fond memories of him. Rest in peace, Sandalio. You are missed. I mean, that was not on my mind at all when I made those videos, right? I just made those videos for the cards, right? But what I've discovered is people that are tied to these old ball players, like maybe in this case, a sister's godfather, right? Or a grandfather, or somebody that lived on the street where they grew up. They're like going on YouTube and they're typing in that person's name, wondering what they might find. And lo and behold, they find this 53-second video about this baseball card, and they just take the opportunity to leave them a comment. So, you never know, guys, when you make a video, who might be watching. And, I would say when you're making a video, guys, if you're making a video about a specific ball player, make sure you mention that ball player's name in your description or something, because you never know who might be tied to that person that's going to go ahead and leave a message in your comments. All right. I'm going to send it off to Cardboard Coach Neil. How about you guys you go ahead and get us started?
Okay. Yeah. Well, so today the men's U.S. Olympic hockey team won gold. We were probably all watching, or we heard. One of the things they mentioned right afterwards was that 46 years to the day, 46 years ago, we won in 1980. And I remember watching that game as a kid. And it kind of prompted me to, hey, I'm going to pull out some stuff I remember during my collecting time. Yeah, that was kind of my introduction to old cards. I didn't call them vintage or pre-war or post-war, anything like that, or ultra modern. It was baseball cards. And I didn't really know, this was before the internet, before price guys, before a lot of things. So all you had was your local card shop. And the closest one was probably 10, 15 miles away. So my parents took me up. I was thinking it's just going to be wax packs and stuff like that. I walked into Joe's dugout and was blown away. that they were selling old cards. And I didn't have a lot of money. I was a kid, but I did. This is the Brooks Robinson I came away with, 1975. I was like, to me, this was old. And this was like 5 years prior, right? So there was a card I saw in the showcase. All the good stuff was always behind a showcase, I learned. And it was a Hank Aaron. I didn't have any Hank Aaron cards and didn't have enough money. It was probably $10 or something like that. I just didn't have enough money. My parents said, hey, we'll come back, just so I went to work. I busted my butt trying to earn as much money as I could to buy this card. We went back. It was gone. For Christmas, I ended up getting it from my parents. And this is a 1956 Hank Aaron.
Oh, wow.
The one from Joe's Dugout. It's my favorite card in my collection. I got one of the first cards I ever got graded. I'm one of those knuckleheads that has to get a lighthouse, so I reholdered it back when it was kind of cheap and quick.
Right.
But this is the favorite card in my collection. It's, as most vintage guys know, vintage collectors know, that's Willie Mays and not Hank Aaron from 1952. So it's kind of like the first unofficial combo card. But I found something out recently years ago. And then I forgot it and I remembered it because I saw a YouTube video. There's actually a third Hall of Famer, and that's Al Barlick, the umpire.
Right.
So some people may not know that. So that's all cards have stories, good memories, and that's mine.
Fantastic. That's a great start. Thanks, Neil.
You got it.
All right, John.
All right. This one sort of has a family twist to it, and I have most of the story. I think there may be a little bit of some gray areas here. It has to do with my grandmother on my mom's side. And about 30-ish years ago, I was talking to her about me collecting cards and things like that. And all of a sudden she turns to me and says, hey, I knew a Major League Baseball player, and he actually asked me out on a date. And I was like, well, who's this? And she said, Gene Desatil. Never heard of him. I guess his nickname was Red. I think he may have had red hair, so Red Desatil. And so not knowing much about him, I went to my local card shop and said, do you have any, Gene Red Desatil cards? And they didn't have any. He's only in two sort of major issues, the 39 and 40 play ball. And then he's in I think a 1953 Mother's Cookies. He was a coach, I think, back then for a minor league team out in the Pacific, I think. But as the story goes, because I did some research on him, and he was in the major leagues from 1930 to 1946. He served in the war in 1944. He started off with, that's his 1939 play ball card. He started off in the majors in 1930 with the Detroit Tigers, then went to the Red Sox in 1937. And my grandmother and my mom, they were from up in Massachusetts. And somehow, I believe it was before my grandmother started dating my grandfather, they dated for 8 years before they finally got married in 1939. My grandmother's parents had passed away early on in her life. And so she had to basically get a job and take care of her siblings since her parents had passed away. So she didn't want to get tied up with marrying my eventual grandfather. So we think this was before he made it to the major leagues in 1930. He went to Holy Cross University College in Worcester, Massachusetts. My grandmother lived in Southbridge, which is maybe 20 minutes away, and she may have worked in Worcester. So if it was before 1930, which we think it was, he may have been at Holy Cross at the time. Who knows? My grandmother may have gone to some college parties. I don't know. But somehow she knew Gene. And at one point, she said he asked her out on a date, and she said no, and then eventually ended up dating my grandfather, and then the rest is history. But since my local card shop didn't have the card once eBay came on in the late 90s, I did a search. And while I couldn't find, I still want to pick up his 39 play ball. I do have his 1940 play ball.
Great.
So there's that. And I'll just briefly read the back here because it gives a little background. It says he was born in Worcester in 1907. My grandmother was born in 1909. It says Gene Desautels has had his ups and downs in the American League, but it looks as if he should definitely establish himself this year. Desautels will battle it out with John Peacock for the first string catching job with the Boston Red Sox, with whom he shared the burden last year. Gene has shown already improvement in his hitting, and while he doesn't hit a long ball, the Holy Cross graduate has proved a timely batter in a pinch. Only 2 other catchers topped Desautels in fielding percentage last year. Now, he wasn't a great ball player. Like I said, he was managed to stick around in the major leagues from 1930 through 1946. His best year was 1939. Yeah, and the dating exactly. His best year is in 1939 with the Red Sox. He played in where is it here? I had it. Oh no, I'm sorry. 1937 was his. No, 38. I'm sorry. I had the wrong line highlighted here. In 1939, he played in 38. He played in 108 games. 38. He played in 108 games. Batted .291, 2 home runs. He had 3 career home runs, 48 RBIs, and a on-base percentage of .396. That was his best year. He managed. He probably averaged around 60-some games a year, so he was most likely backup catcher,
Right.
serviceable type of thing. But yeah, if things had turned out different, one, I may not have been around. But if she had said yes to going out on a date with Gene Desautels, who knows what that future would have held. But yeah, she remembered dating this guy, Gene Desautels, and finding in 1937 that he started playing for the Boston Red Sox.
Well,
That's
chat's
incredible.
blowing up. You guys are
Everyone,
awesome.
everyone enjoy it. Yeah. Very cool, John. Appreciate
That's a
that
really cool
story.
story.
Yeah. Okay, Mitchell, on to you.
Yeah, this is a story of how one card became 2 and how no autograph is free. So a couple of years ago at the Chicago Sports Spectacular, they used to do like free autograph Fridays. So if you were like amongst like the first couple entries, you get a raffle ticket, which then turn into like a free autograph from one of the people that was signing on Friday. So this year I went, got one of the tickets. It was like only like the first 100 people or something like that. So I was able to get in and get it. And I pull out Craig Morton. I'm like, who's Craig Morton? So I had to look it up. I'm like, oh, he's an old football player. So like, all right. So now I'm on the hunt, going around the card show, trying to find dollar boxes that have vintage cards in there of Craig Morton, who was a Dallas Cowboys quarterback before Staubach, right? So I'm like searching around, looking around for it. So I finally find one from a dealer who has a bunch of those like large boxes that just have commons in them from like the 50s all the way through like the 80s, right? So I find Craig Morton. So eventually got him to sign it later. But the card was like quarter. So like, I'm not going to go up to the dealer and say, hey, I want to buy a card for a quarter. So I had to get something else because I feel silly kind of doing that, number one, but also think it's kind of it's like a waste of their time, right? To break $1, right? For a card, for one card, right? So I was looking around in other their cases and stuff, and I was able to come across Duke. So I picked up the Duke Snyder in the same transaction. So it was about a $40 autograph that was not free and got me these 2 cards that night. So.
That's great. 2 cards you never would associate with each other, but now
No, not at all.
they're
Yeah.
forever entwined.
Greg was actually kind of a nice guy too. He's like, oh, you got a card from my hippie days with my long hair.
That's right. Awesome. All right, Neil, back to you.
All right. Well, I guess another kind of sleight of hand type of thing. So the December 2001 Philly show, at the time I was dating this girl, and she knew I liked cars. I told her I was going. She's like, I want to come along. And being the romantic guy I am, I took her to the card show. So, but it was a vintage card show. So, so we're looking around, and she noticed I was looking at a couple of cards, and I just kept on walking. I got them for Christmas. So, again, another sleight of hand under my nose. But so my two Goudies,
Oh wow.
Cochran and Ruffing. And I got these from Joe Drellick, his table. Joe is he used to set up all the time at the Philly show. He now runs the National. He runs the Philly show. And but I got these for Christmas, and I ended up marrying her. So maybe because of these cards, I don't know. So,
Those are keepers, and she was.
yeah, those are keepers.
Yeah, right.
I'm showing cards that I just, they're kind of sentimental. Never going to leave the collection, and so my sons are getting tired of hearing the story. So
Sure. Can you hold up those two cards one more time?
yeah.
Look at that. That's great.
Yeah.
That's a great
These,
Christmas.
I sent these to SGC. I don't know, years ago, because I like the Goudies with in the slab.
Sure.
I was never really crazy about the old flip, so I think I have probably spent $200 to $300 in reholder fees over the years. So I'm one of those knuckleheads that keeps that business going. So
Right.
yeah. But yeah,
I totally get it. I mean, if that whole world wasn't just falling apart day by day, I would feel the same way. I still think of like post-war as PSA and pre-war as SGC. That's how warped my thinking is.
Yeah.
All right, John.
All right. Well, I have to show off and tell a story about a Wade Boggs card.
Oh, okay.
But
That makes sense.
With most of my cards, there's not really a special story to them or a special significance, but there is one. And this goes back to the 2023 National. I just had his name now, Brian Gray, the owner of Leaf at the time. He had a sort of a sound booth set up in the middle of the corporate section. And throughout the show, he had former athletes and stuff come on and open up new product. I think at the time it was Leaf Metal. And so they'd have each athlete in there for 20 minutes or so, chatting things up, opening up boxes and showing off all the hits and so on. Well, the Sunday, the last day of the show there was when Wade Boggs was coming to sign. And he is on contract or whatever is within the sets that Leaf was putting out. And so he was on, and Brian was talking with Wade, and back and forth. They were opening up some boxes, and he said, "Hey, wouldn't it be cool if I hit one of my cards?" Which he didn't. But Brian started asking him about his fans and different things, and I was there, and a couple others of the Boggs Trust were there. One, because later on we were going to meet Wade and have him sign some stuff. And so he points over and says, "Hey, over there is a group of my biggest fans. They're called the Boggs Trust." And so they start talking about the interaction with us and him and all that stuff. And then so Brian turns to Wade and said, "Wouldn't it be a cool idea if we made a special Leaf card just for the members of the Boggs Trust?" And he says, "How many members are there of the Boggs Trust?" And he says, 13. He says, "Okay, what we're going to do is we'll get," and he brought the biggest Boggs fan, Richard Davis, my buddy Richard, brought him actually into the booth and said, announced what Leaf was going to do. And so they started coordinating things and outside. So my buddy Rich and I worked with one of the designers at Leaf to put together the design of this card. They put it together, sent it down to Wade for him to sign all 14, and they're serial numbered. Wade kept serial number 1. They all went back to my buddy Rich, and then he saw that the other Boggs Trust members got this card, and he took serial number 2. I have serial number 3. And what ties this to not only my collecting, but the community is I reached out to Scott Reindeer Studios to create the Boggs Trust logo, which is I'm sort of wearing on my t-shirt here.
Right.
And so this is a unique, not found in packs, only available to the members of the Boggs Trust.
Wow, look at
Wow,
that.
that's cool.
This
That's a
on-card
beautiful card.
autograph, specially designed leaf metal from 2023, and that's the wrong hand here. That is the logo that Scott designed, and this is the back. So as you can see, this is serial numbered 3 of 14. So you cannot find this in any packs. There are only, besides Wade, only 13 other people have this specially designed card, and it's all because of Wade talking to Brian Gray, and Brian willing to do something like that for a special group of Wade Boggs fans.
Right.
So this is always a special card in my collection.
That's a beautiful
I
card.
have one of
Oh, you-
ones. I have
oh,
other
that's
rare
special.
cards and stuff, but this one's special.
Right. Just curious, did Wade say anything about it or make any comments about it? Do you know?
Oh, he thought it was a great idea. He
Yeah.
says, "Oh, absolutely." He says, "Yeah, send me stuff down." Again, they sent all the cards down. He signed them right away, got them back to Leaf, and I think Leaf then passed them on to my buddy Rich. And then since he had all the contacts for the remaining members of the Boggs Trust, he sent
Right.
all of them out to everyone.
So cool for you guys, but also I love that he is just so like welcoming of his fan base. You know, I think that's
Oh, yeah.
wonderful.
Yep.
Really cool. All right, Mitchell.
Yeah, I'm up on. So I heard somebody's trying to do a whole miscut 1975 top set these days. So, that kind of got me thinking, do I have an interesting miscut card I could share with you guys? I actually do. So years ago when I was putting together the 48 Bowman set, I had one card in particular, Walker Cooper, which I'll show you in a minute, that's actually it's miscut. So I thought about replacing it and getting one that doesn't have part of the other card on it. But the more I looked at it, this one's actually pretty unique. This is actually the bottom.
Oh,
Oh,
Oh, wow.
So it's my second Stay Unusual card. So,
yeah.
If anyone wants to buy this one for a Stay Unusual price, let me know.
it'd be fun to list that on eBay and like really play up the Stan Musial part.
This is Stan.
Well, you have that Jackie, the 52 Jackie Robinson, right, with the partial mantle, or vice versa.
Yes,
the mantle
right.
with
Yes.
yeah. So there you go.
Two birds, one stone. That's great. Cool. All right. Are we back to the beginning? Neil, back to you.
All right, so going back a long time, like I was saying for the first card, back in the day, there wasn't a lot of information. There was on cards. You couldn't see pictures or anything like that until I saw the Beckett Annual. Remember those things they used to? You guys are young, so you guys probably don't remember.
I remember that.
Beckett put out an annual every year, and in the middle, on a couple of them, there were some like colorized pages showing different cards. One of the cards I saw was a 52 Topps Duke Snider, and I was a kid. And if it wasn't at your card shop, you really didn't know how to get it. I
Right.
looked for that card. Then I went to high school in the 80s, college, early 90s, I'm done. 90s was kind of a lost era, but I always kind of wanted to get that card. 90s, I didn't buy a lot of baseball cards, but kind of got back into it, and I found eBay, and this thing called eBay, and started looking for 1952 Topps Duke Snider, and boom, there was like 30 of them, to choose
Right.
from. So I bought one, and I have it right here. I finally submitted it probably 10 years ago, got it graded, and it's a 5.5. One of my favorite cards.
Beautiful.
But the first time I ever saw it was in a Beckett, one of those, I want to say the 79 or 80 Beckett. So
Right.
now I have to look
Love
for
it.
one of those things.
That's a really
Yeah.
solid
Yeah.
grade for that set too.
I love that story, Neil, because I think we all, and myself included, take it for granted just how, especially like a card like that, how easy it is to at least come across it.
Yeah.
Condition aside, or price aside, you can find it very easily now. But there was a time where if you wanted that, you had to work for it, and or you had to work to find it or like come across it. And it kind of reminds me, for some reason, it reminds me like when I was a kid, if I wanted to watch a movie, I better tape it on a VHS because I'm not going to be able to find it anywhere else, right? Whereas now you can go anywhere online and find whatever you want right away. It kind of like kills the hunt of it a little bit.
Yeah.
But that's a beautiful card. I love that. I love that 52 Duke.
Yeah. Thank you.
All right, John.
All right. So I think for maybe a decent number of collectors out there, there's maybe some family connection. Maybe their dad collected cards, or an older brother, or at least they grew up. Oh, my dad would, we went to games or watched on TV, and he told me about these great players. I never really had that. My dad really wasn't into sports. He'd occasionally have maybe a Phillies game on TV or something. He never collected cards as a kid. So I didn't have that connection, so to speak, with my dad. But there is one card that I have in my collection because of him. My local card shop it's either the oldest or one of the oldest card shops in existence. I think they started up in 75 or 76, and they're still open today.
Wow.
Well, they used to go to, on Sundays, a local flea market and set up there and sell cards. And occasionally, either one of my parents or both of them would take me over, and I'd maybe pick up a few cards. Back then, I didn't have a whole lot of money. We're probably talking, I was maybe 14, 15 years old. So I had a little bit of money, but not a whole lot. So one Sunday we went over, and this is mid 80s. I was more interested in looking to see if I can afford a 1986 Donruss Jose Canseco rookie card,
Sure.
or like an Eric Davis 85 Topps rookie card, right? So that was my focus, and I was into the quote unquote modern or current players. And so as I'm looking through different cards, deciding what I want to pick up and what I can afford to pick up, my dad's over in another section looking through pages of binder pages of vintage cards. And he says, John, come over here. So he says, and again, my dad doesn't know a whole lot, so I don't know how he knew of this player, but he says, I know, I've heard of this player. And he said to Bill Schaefer, the owner of the card shop, Bill, he says, is he in the Hall of Fame? And he said, yeah, Red Schoendienst. Yep, he's a Hall of Famer. And he says, well, and Bill's like, well, that's actually his rookie card. And my dad's like, you should get this card. This is a Hall of Fame rookie card. And I remember, I think he was a pretty good player and stuff. So it's not in great condition. Someone had written some pencil mark, had tried to erase it. It's off center. But I ended up picking it up probably for like maybe $8. The 1948 Bowman.
Nope. Sorry.
There you go. The 48 Bowman, Red Schoendienst. And at the time, this was, I think, my oldest card. And this is really the only connection I have with my dad. I'm sorry, he passed away last year. So
Of course.
It's a special card in my collection. So
Yeah. No, I appreciate you sharing that, John. And the fact that he was not necessarily into baseball, but that stuck with him and that made an impression on you.
Yeah. I don't know why Red Schoendienst, but
sure. Yeah. But
I
think that's why it's great. Like if it were Mickey Mantle, it'd be like, okay, sure. Right. But I actually love that it's Red Schoendienst. So I think that makes it more special.
Yeah.
Sorry, I'm getting a text message from Neil. Apparently Neil lost his power.
Oh no.
Well, yeah,
so
he is down in the Philly area, so hopefully everything is okay there.
Do we need to find more cards real quickly to make sure we have enough content?
I got a few extras, so I
have a few more to go. Yeah,
absolutely. Mitchell, if you've got something handy, I've got some cards here too. I can kind of pitch in.
Yeah, actually, I wanted to pick up show like an air card actually. So I know like as a child, we talked in childhood, talked a lot about like the Billy Ripken era was big when I was younger. I think I was like 12 when that product came out. this is a couple of years later. It kind of made me think like, what's probably the most popular air card since that one? And I keep coming back to this one. I know I'm personally biased on this one just because I love the player in particular, but this was like a real chase card for me to be able to pick this up. It is the 2007 Topps Derek Jeter. And if you remember that story, someone at the Topps factory that was designing this card superimposed George Bush and Mickey Mantle onto the card, and it got into production.
Yeah.
So I have heard that person didn't stay at Topps sometime after that as an production, but this is the gold version. It's the serial numbered one. So
Yes.
that's hard to see the card here. Where they go?
Yep.
There's Mickey and there's George Bush standing up in the stands. So
Very nice.
yeah, it's a fun card. There might be a copper version of it too, which would be numbered even lower. But I've never seen it. So if anybody knows about that, let me know, because that'd be a cool one to pick up at some point.
But that's not on every. It didn't make it on every. That's a variation.
They corrected it.
Yeah.
The first release, everything had it. So I think the complete sets, they fixed it, and any like packs they put out, I think thereafter, after the first issues of all the Series 1 cards. So like all the gold cards were already like in there, and the base cards were in there as well. So. But yeah, it's a fun, someone having fun in the office, making a big mistake and not catching it kind of story.
Right.
So
I bet you someone. I bet you $20 you can put. Yes.
It was hard to do. Like, hey, you can do it in like a second nowadays, but back then that took some time. I want to give a quick shout out to Carl. Carl was actually, I didn't want to mention it, but Carl's mentioning it here in the chat. Carl was not able to make it to the live session tonight because of a condition that he's dealing with. So he's hopefully going to be able to recover in time to get to Independenceville for the show. So Carl, we're thinking of you in the land down under, and hope you're doing well and recovering soon. And look who's back. The power's back.
Yeah, everything went black. Yeah. It's coming down here in Delaware, so it's probably what are you gonna do? But
yeah, right. Well, we'll enjoy it. We'll enjoy your cars, Neil, while we can. Go for it.
You're up now. So
what did I miss? Anything
I
good?
think you missed the rotation. Yeah.
Okay. You missed a lot actually. Yeah.
I think you're up. So.
Oh,
Absolutely.
I'm up.
Yeah, go for it.
All right. So I've told this story, I think, on one of my first ever collaborations, back in last year when I started my channel in, I think, May. But in 1981, I won an art contest. I think it might have been rigged. It was a Philadelphia Electric Company, Pico. My aunt worked at Pico. I mean, I was a decent, cartoonist as a kid. You had to be a certain age. But I came in second place, and I won $50, which was a lot of money.
Sure.
And I was going to blow it on cards. So I went back to Joe's dugout and it was spent before the check even got there. And I bought a couple of wax packs, and I've also bought a 55 Jackie and a Ted Williams.
Oh,
that was a good day.
All the $50.
There you go.
You got them in there?
That's awesome.
Yeah, so I bought those as a kid, and now, 53 through 56 top, or 52, I guess, but through 56, the little bit bigger, oversized. This is even before 9-pocket sheets, but they wouldn't fit in anything. So, if I was having a trade session, in the neighborhood back when we were kids, and these were only shown if they were at my house. So I just didn't have anywhere to put them. I wasn't going to put them in the shoebox or anything like that. But yeah, so cards I will not sell.
Sure.
They mean a lot.
I was going to say earlier when you said $50 to blow on baseball cards, I think we all do the same thing, but we ain't getting those two cards.
Not anymore. Not today. Yeah.
Yeah. Amazing. All right. Let's see. John, back to you.
Yeah, well, we all know that there are some great and generous people within the community that give, do prizes or send out random acts of kindness. Well, maybe it was like 4-ish years ago. I was watching Dave Blue Jacket 66. Love his videos, his vast knowledge of vintage, pre-war, the stories that he has with his dad collecting, and regional food issues, all that stuff. Well, he did a video where he was showing off, I believe that the subject of the video were strip cards from the 1920s. And he said, hey, the first one to put a comment in that say, hey, you'd like a strip card from me, let me know. And I want to say he was giving away maybe a John McGraw strip card. And because I think with he and his dad had, I think, some full strips that they actually cut up and did very well, good job on it. Well, I remember making a comment on that video shortly after whoever it was made the first comment. And I said to Dave, looks like I wasn't there, didn't make the comment in time. I think these strip cards look cool. I don't have one in my collection, and just left it at that. Well, Dave being Dave, he got back to me and said, hey, you don't have one? I'll just send me your address. I'll send you, I have some other, extras or ones that I want. I'll send you a strip card. I'm like, wow, Dave, that's awesome. Well, not only did he send me a strip card, it was a strip card of a Hall of Famer. So this is from the 1923 W515-1 set of Frank Frisch. And that is, I mean, you can tell it's hand cut, but it's really nice job there. They're blank back, of course.
That's early career.
And I love this. And other than a few T206 cards that I have in my collection, this is my oldest card in my collection, the only one I have from the 20s. And it's actually one, you get some strip cards that you can't really tell who the player is. I mean, this one actually sort of, looks like a person, and you can, associate him with Frankie Frisch. I don't know a lot about him other than I believe he was at some point on a veterans committee in the Hall of Fame and got a lot of his friends and teammates through some influence into the Hall. So if there's some members of the Hall of Fame that got elected, I forget whether it was the 50s or 60s, maybe someone in the chat knows. And if you scratch your head and go, how did he get into the Hall of Fame? Chances are it was because of Frankie Frisch.
No. 70s. Yeah. No. Yep.
That's great.
Yep.
Well, it's not every day you get a strip card in the mail, and also the fact that it's from Blue Jacket is pretty awesome.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yep. So very,
cool.
very
Nice
special card in my collection.
All right. Mitchell, go for it.
Yeah, this one's less about a story I had personally of the card, but it's more about the players on the card. So this is the Farrell brothers. This is one of the Gaudi wide pens.
Right.
I picked it up when I did a video on them. And what was I thought interesting about them at the time is obviously one's in the Hall of Fame, one isn't. Although I made an argument before West probably should be reconsidered. But this is the only time in baseball history where this particular feat happened. In July of 1933, they were playing on opposite teams at this point. And Rick Farrell hit a home run off of Wes, who was the pitcher. And then Wes came up later in the game and hit a home run himself. So the only time it happened where brothers homered in the same game like that, where one hit the home run off of the other. So I think that's always just an interesting fact about these guys, and probably something we'll never see again, unless Ohtani has a brother that's gonna come up. I don't know how else that could happen, but it's pretty unique. So.
Right. I also like the photograph. It kind of makes me want to figure out what building that is in the background, which is kind of a Diamond Stars game too, right?
Yeah, a little bit. It's probably Boston. This was when they were with the Red Sox. So,
right.
Yeah, not sure where it's facing.
It'd be fun to try and figure out if it's still there or not. Yeah.
Imagine it's from Fenway, unless they're on the road. So.
All right, guys, we got 10 minutes left. That's probably enough for one more card each. Neil, you got one?
Yeah, I just was digging one out because I realized there's 10 minutes. There's probably going to be one more. So, this was a card I got last year. This is something I never knew about until Facebook. So as a kid, we had nothing. Now we have everything.
Sure.
And you're finding out, besides just some of the stuff you see on YouTube, you see something cool, you you start searching right away. I saw this thing on Facebook, and I never heard of it, but Yogi Berra was a spokesperson for Shelby Bicycle, and this is an ad. He just what a great image of Yogi. I mean,
Yeah.
but it's just that this is from the from a magazine or comic or something like that. So this was the premium they gave away.
Oh,
And as you can see, it's just a beautiful, beautiful image, an image that was used on his Drakes, and I think also his 1950 Bowman.
yes.
Yep.
So it's just a beautiful, beautiful image. It's a tough card. I got this thing raw. I worked out a deal with a guy over, I hemmed and hawed about it for months, but he kept on lowering the price and finally got it. I submitted to SGC back when SGC literally would be 2 weeks, and instead of 2 months or more. And I thought it was going to be about a 2.5. And I don't know what I missed, but maybe they did, but I'll still take it. It's just a beautiful,
Such a cool item.
beautiful example.
Yeah.
1952 Shelby Bicycle. So show that card.
Yeah. I think that's a lot of people's favorite Yogi image, and I've never seen that size. That's really nice.
Yogi may have, I think, pound for pound, the best. They're always so consistently good.
Yeah,
cards.
I agree.
Yeah.
I think it's the mug. I think it's his face.
Yeah.
It just makes for a
65
great.
always cracks me up
Yeah.
by that point in his life.
Yes. John.
Yep. I'll try to keep this quick so I can give Mitchell a chance here. I started collecting cards in 1978, just buying packs of cards, and into 79 and 80. It was around Little League time. And I remember at one, either game or practice, I was out in the field doing my stuff, sucking as a ball player. And my mom was in the stands with other moms, and they just happened to be talking, and somehow baseball cards came up. And this was probably 80 or 80 or 81 or 82. And I'll show you why. But they started to talk, and some of the other parents whose kids were in my class started collecting. Hey, did you know that there's some error cards that are worth some money from like 81 Fleer? They had different card numbers or different things, the Craig and Greg Nettles and stuff like that. And so I don't know how I still have this, but my mom took out a piece of paper and started writing down some of these errors cards for me to go back home and look through my cards. And this is the actual folded up piece of paper. Okay.
Wow.
That's the Schaefer's cards there that I talked about, the local card shop. Well,
That's
they
awesome.
have, here's like a 79. These are, a lot of these are 81 Fleers. But if you look down at the bottom, card number 369 from 1979 Topps. Now, my mom put bumper wills. That's actually bump wills.
Yeah.
And at the time, there was a he played on the Rangers, but the team on the front said Blue Jays was the error, and the Rangers was the corrected, but the corrected was rarer. So if you had the Rangers on the front at the time, they said that card was worth about $7, as opposed to the Blue Jays on the front were worth about $3. So I went home, started looking through my 79 Topps cards, and sure enough, I had the corrected version.
All right.
Nice.
Now again, look at the condition. But back then, hey, I had a $7 card. I don't. This was
Yeah,
someone
right.
who would get 50 cents a week.
Good
allowance,
deal. Yeah.
right? So I had a card that was $7 because it was corrected, but it was harder to find than the error. Well, fast forward until I start my YouTube channel, I start getting into vintage cards. Of course, I had to get graded copies of both
Right.
examples, and I had to get them in 9s. So this was honestly this Bump Wills card, okay, that I had as my pulled from a pack. This, now that I knew like some of these cards had like some value, I mean, they were cool. I always just collected because they were cool. But this sort of jump started my entire collecting mentality of cards. I may have stopped at some point and said, it was just a little fad, this or whatever. But after that, I knew that, hey, some of these cards had some value to them. I remember starting in 1980, I sort of protected my cards a little bit better. They were still in shoe boxes, but I started maybe thinking about, 9-card sleeves and, put them in here and things like that. And I had more of I should probably take care of these cards and not just, just throw them in a cardboard box or something. So it was this Bump Wills card that really started my entire collection 40 some years later.
And your mother, right? I was gonna say, John, you should get that card and the letter framed.
Yeah. She couldn't believe I had this folded up literally in a shoebox that I kept a lot of my cards in. And one day I was looking through that shoebox. I said, what's this piece of paper? And I unfolded it. I'm like, you got to be kidding me. So this is from like 1981, 82.
Yeah.
And I still have it.
Cool.
Yep.
Awesome. All right, Mitchell, we still got time.
Yeah, I'll go run real quick. So this is back from the early days of eBay, and it was probably like, I don't know, 98, 99 or something, sometime right around no more than probably 2000. And you didn't have pictures often of the cards you were kind of like putting bids on or trying to buy. And I was starting to try and buy vintage cards there. And of course I was trying to go on the cheap versus like trying to like buy something more reasonable price now. And so I saw this 54 Duke Schneider, and I think I got it for, I don't know, less than $10, I think at that time. And so I got it, and this is what I got in return. I actually got it graded later on. But as you can see up here, some kid actually wrote center field on the card to denote his position, but then probably realized, oh, this might be worth some money. So let's go back and try and erase it.
Right.
So we got that on there. So, but I ended up just kind of keeping it because it was kind of an interesting card in my collecting journey. I wouldn't buy like probably something like this like now, but I think at that time it's what I could afford, and I was trying to get the bigger players that I knew of at that time, and I think I was still trying to learn more about a lot of the Hall of Famers. Yeah. I think my knowledge probably didn't go much further than like the 50s unless they were Ruth and Garrick. So Duke was a name at that point that I recognized. So that's why I picked up this card. But
nice. Duke has come up a few times tonight.
Yeah.
Well, guys, we're just about out of time. I do hope that everybody checks out 4 Collectors here at 9 o'clock. But I do want to say thank you to Mitchell, Neil, and John for jumping in. Thanks, guys. It was a lot of fun.
Yeah, thank you, Alex.
Yeah, thanks for having us on.
Absolutely. We'll do it again another time. Until next Sunday night, thanks for joining in, everybody. If you enjoyed this live stream about nothing, give it a thumbs up. If you didn't, well, I'm not sure why you're still here. But do what you will. Have a great Sunday night. Stay warm. Stay safe, everybody up north. And we'll see you next Sunday night. Take care.